Today I'm showing you how to make dehydrated quinoa banana oat cookies or granola. Hi everyone, I'm Tammy from the blog Nutmeg Notebook, where I teach people how to cook on a whole food plant-based diet that's SOS free, that's salt, oil, and sugar free. Today, I was actually in the middle of making this when I said to Tom, hey, maybe we should videotape this because other people might enjoy seeing what I'm doing with my muffin mix. So what I have already in my bowl here is my quinoa banana oat muffin mix. And what I do is I pre-batch prep the dry ingredients, and I do about 4 kits so that I have my own muffin mix ready to go, and I put this in my pantry, and all I have to add to it then is 20 ounces of mashed banana and a cup of applesauce, and then I can make all kinds of things with it. I can make muffins. I have these jammy bars that are like a muffin on the bottom but with jam on top. I have mini ones. Sometimes I make them into little hotcakes on top of the stove on a griddle pan. Lots of things you can do with them. So these are really fun and convenient to keep in your pantry. So today I just took one of my quinoa banana oat muffin mixes, and we'll link to the recipe below for you. I have a video on how to make the muffin mixes, and it's super easy. Today I also added a tablespoon of Local Spiceries cinnamon. It is amazing. They make small batches. It's very fresh. It's so fragrant, and the flavor is amazing. I just wanted these to have a little more punch to them. I'm going to be making cookies, and I'm going to be making some granola, and I'm not going to bake them. I'm going to fix them in my dehydrator. So the really fun thing about that is they'll last forever. So they don't have preservatives in them, but you can keep them in containers in your pantry for a very long time. They're perfect to take with you hiking, biking, traveling, because you don't need to refrigerate dehydrated cookies or dehydrated granola. And you can make everything without oil and without any added sugar because the bananas become your sweetener. So let me show you how I go about this. Now I was working on, like I said, I was in the middle of making this, and I was working on a tray of getting the cookies made when I decided, hey, maybe we should videotape this. And so I'm going to show you now how I get this shape. So I use a little cookie scoop. I think this was from Pampered Chef, and I have 2 sizes. I looked all over this to see if it told how big it is, and it does, and it just says that it's stainless steel. This was the larger scoop. I know it's larger than a tablespoon worth of dough, so I just take it. I like to have kind of an even little scoop there, and I scoop it out, and I put it on my tray. So we'll get another scoop of it going here and put it out there. A little dough got away. And then I just take a small spatula and I press down. And I try to keep the round shape going, but you want it to be more flattened and thinner because the less time it will take, the thinner it is, the less time it will take to dehydrate. And I kind of like to make the edges a little bit smooth. It just looks nicer when it's done. And I just keep doing that. So usually I'll go ahead and do all of the scoops out on the Teflon sheet. And these are little, they're kind of like non-stick sheets for the food dehydrator. And I just bought these on Amazon. And I'll show you my dehydrator. You can use the Breville Smart Oven Air. It has a dehydrating function. You can see how I go about that. Just kind of do that. I did this whole tray, and then I decided it's a little crowded, and so I'll probably take 1 row off and move these around because I think when it's less crowded that it'll dehydrate a little bit faster. Now I'm also going to make granola, and I'll show you how I do that. I just put the mix out on the Teflex sheet, and then I'm just going to spread it around and thin it out a bit, because if it's really thick, it'll take a very long time for it to dehydrate. Now, how long it's going to take in the dehydrator really varies. It depends on how much humidity is in the air, how wet the batter is, how thick you have it. So what you have to do is just set your dehydrator, and then you have to keep checking. And when it's done enough that it will come off of the Teflex sheet a little bit, then I usually flip it over and finish dehydrating it without the Teflex, because you have this little plastic liner that's on the dehydrator trays, and that way the air can really get through and help it finish. And it's okay if I have some little holes in it, because I want this to be able to break up into smaller bits. And this works really good for taking hiking or just keeping in the pantry. You can add it to the top of some fruit. You can add some almond milk and some fresh fruit with it and have a little breakfast cereal. And like I said, it's great for travel. And it's okay if this has rough edges, because this is going to be granola. And I'm going to break it up so it doesn't matter what shape it's in. Okay, now I'm ready to put it in my dehydrator, and I'll show you how that goes. So I finished getting everything put on the Teflex sheets. So I have 2.5 sheets of cookies that I'm going to dehydrate and 1 sheet of the granola. This is my Excaliber Dehydrator. It's a 9-tray dehydrator, and I love it. So I haven't gotten to use it a lot lately. When I first got it, I was using it all the time. But I still love it, because when I want to make something dehydrated, it's fantastic. It does such a great job. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these in the dehydrator, and then I'll turn it around to show you what that looks like. I did take the 1 sheet of cookies that I had so many on, and I spread them out onto another sheet, because I just felt like it was a little too crowded, and the more spread out it is, the better the air can circulate to do the dehydrating. And I have it set already to 155 degrees, and I'm going to do it for 4 hours. After 4 hours, I'm going to check and see how it is, and if it's done enough at 4 hours that this will come off of the Teflex sheet, then I'll transfer it over to just the dehydrator sheet to finish, just so the air can circulate more and speed up the process a bit. And this just makes the house smell amazing. So let me turn this around just so you can see what this looks like. And like I said, this is a 9-tray, so I just did like every other slot, since I'm only doing the 4 trays today. I have it set at 155 degrees. This particular one allows you to set the temperature and the time, and not all of them are like this. You can get smaller dehydrators as well. You can get just 4-tray dehydrators. I could probably get by with that, but since I was doing it, I thought, oh, I'll maximize, because you know I like to batch cook. And so you can do really large quantities if you want to, and that's especially fun if you're going to do like kale chips, because you know we can burn through a couple trays of kale chips in one sitting. And so with this, you know, you can do 9 trays. So it's great. And I don't keep this in my kitchen, because it has a fan that circulates and it makes noise, and I don't want to listen to that for, you know, if this is going to take 8 or 9 hours. So I keep this in my exercise room. So you might think about that. It's not like you have to store this in your kitchen, and I leave it in there all the time, even when I'm not using it. And then it has this door that you can see through, which that I really like, because I can go over and just kind of look in and see how things are going. And you can take the door off and check for doneness to see how things are doing as well. And it's not going to hurt anything. The temperature is going to drop a little bit for a little bit of time, but then you just put it back on. And dehydrating is kind of a guessing game as to how long it's going to take, because every batch is different. It depends on the day and the humidity and how much moisture content is in what you're dehydrating. So we're going to go ahead and move this back to my exercise room and get it started, and I'll check in with you later and let you know how it's going. Hi everyone, it's been 4 hours and the granola and the little cookies have been in the dehydrator the whole time for 4 hours, and I'm ready to flip them. I've already flipped the cookies, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to flip the granola. And the cookies are equally as easy. Yes, I did change clothes because it's been 4 hours and I'm getting ready to go to physical therapy. So I've got my exercise clothes on, but I wanted to get this flipped and get them going the rest of the way. So I just do this. So I take another tray with the little plastic, I don't know what that's called, but the little plastic sheeting, and just put it on top, peel off the Teflex sheet, and you see it just comes right off. And there you go. Now this is pretty thin. I spread this thinner than I did the cookies, and it's almost done. It's just a little bit damp there in the middle. You can see the center of the cookies, there's still moisture there. So I'm gonna put everything back in. So at 2.5 hours, I'll go in, I'll check it and see if it's crispy and make sure that there's no moisture in the center, and then they'll be done. So I'll check back with you and let you see what it looks like when they're all done. Hi everyone. So many of you have the Breville Smart Oven Air, and you've been asking me about using the dehydrate function. So I went ahead and I made another batch of the cookies and granola, and I made them in the Breville. And I want you to know it works great. I love the dehydrate function on it. Now you can buy extra dehydrator and air frying racks from Breville, from Amazon, from different places online. I think Williams-Sonoma also sells them. So that way you can do multiple racks of dehydrating all at the same time. Now, you will need the Teflex sheets that I was showing you that I use for the Excalibur, and we have these on our Amazon store. And so I just took some of these and had Tom, I was gonna say I cut them, but I didn't. I had Tom cut them, because they have to be cut a little bit smaller in order to fit onto the dehydrator racks. So there you can see. And you know, they're kind of a non-stick kind of surface, and which is really great, because then you'll do the same thing with the Breville as you do in the directions that I show for the Excalibur. Halfway through, when these are just dehydrated enough that you can turn them over and get them off the Teflex sheet without them sticking, then you're going to transfer them back to the air fryer basket, dehydrator basket, without the Teflex, because that just helps the air circulate a little bit more, and it helps them dehydrate a little bit faster towards the end. So we will post a link to the Teflex sheets, and these are reusable. You wash them and then reuse them. I think it said that they can each be used 1,000 times. So they're well worth the money to get. Now I want to show you, you're going to put the dough on the Teflex sheets for the Breville in the same manner that I showed how to do it for the Excalibur. I did make these a little bit smaller. I used the small cookie scoop because I wanted to have some little cookies, because then, you know, I get to have more for a serving. And so I made them smaller. So they did dehydrate a little bit faster in the Breville because they were smaller to begin with. Also, this is a small unit, and I was only doing 2 trays, and that also helps them to go faster. But I did granola and I did the cookies, and they turned out great. So I want to show you over here. Tom, maybe you want to come in close. Okay, so you can see it's on dehydrate and set to, the temperature is set to 155. Also notice that it's on super convection, and you want it to be set on that for the dehydrate function. And the button that changes that is this one here that's showing a fan. So if you push that, you'll see there it went off, there it went to convection, and we'll do it a third time, and there it is, super convection. Now, when you want it set to super convection, when you're using dehydrate or you're using the air fry function. So make sure that it's set to that, because that makes that fan spin and go fast. Okay, so I want to show you that on the front of the glass, it gives us the placement for the racks for the various functions that the oven does, and the air fry and the dehydrator go in the same placement. But I did 2 racks when I was doing the cookies and the granola in here, and I just placed the second rack underneath. But now I'll show you what the finished product looks like for the cookies. And you see they're turned upside down on here because at the halfway mark, I took them off the Teflex and turned them over just to finish them off nicely in the Breville. And they turned out great. They're really crunchy. I'm just gonna break one here for you. And super delicious. And I did add extra cinnamon, and I also added a little extra vanilla powder to this batch, and they taste so great. So the Breville works great as a dehydrator. I was really happy with it, so give it a try. And now we're going to continue with showing you how they turn out of the Excalibur. Okay, it's been another 2.5 hours, and now the granola is done, and so are the cookies. I wish you guys could smell it. It smells amazing in here. That extra cinnamon was just the right boost. So Tom and I have already tasted, and they're fabulous. So I'm very, very happy. We have the cookies. It made 40 cookies. So just to remind you, I used the quinoa banana oat muffin mix that I have the recipe for. It made 40 cookies plus this granola. So we did the first cooking in the dehydrator was for 4 hours at 155 degrees. And then I did 155 degrees for an additional 2.5 hours after I turned everything over. So here's the granola, and I just wanted to show you how crispy, crunchy it is, and I'm just gonna break it up. You can break it up really fine if you want. You can leave it in bigger chunks, and you could also make it thicker if you wanted to leave it be thicker. So here we go. This will be delicious over fruit. Could put it in a bowl with some fresh fruit and add some plant milk, some unsweetened plant milk, and it would be perfect. See how great this is? And I'll just put this in my glass containers that have the little locking lids on them and store this in the pantry. Usually with the cookies, I like to take and put them in containers and put them in the freezer. I'm less tempted to get into them if I have to walk to the freezer. Not that there's anything wrong with these. They don't have any sugar. They don't have any oil. It's just they're really delicious, and I could easily overeat on them. If they were in the pantry, I might want to walk in there all the time to get a cookie. So there you have it. There is granola, SOS free, and SOS free cookies. So thank you for watching today's video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And also next to the subscribe tab, there is a little bell underneath the video. Click on that and you'll get notifications every time we have a new video. Also go over to the blog, nutmegnotebook.com, where we have hundreds of recipes that we haven't made videos for yet, and subscribe there and you'll get 2 exclusive recipes that are just for subscribers. So thank you so much. This is Tammy. I help you get healthy and stay healthy, one meal at a time.